Yes, indeed. It's Ringside Report MMA. We're live. We're previewing UFC 286 tonight. Let's do it.
Let's go!
You know, why mess around? Let's get right into it. Uh-oh. What is he doing?
AJ's top with of us. The morning, though, Simon.
Freddie's off tonight because he had knee surgery, so he's resting his knee. Freddie, you know, this is the life of the jiu-jitsu athlete that he is. You know, the guy, he's been waiting for a while to get his knee surgery, so we were wishing Freddie a speedy recovery. They took out his whole, what is it, the meniscus? They ripped it all out of him. So he's got no more meniscus, but he hopes to be back on the mats in about 6 weeks. So hopefully I'll see Fred back at 10th Planet Montreal very soon. And, yeah, wishing Fred all the best. He's not with us tonight. I think he'll be taking a little bit of a break. It's hard for him to kind of sit in one place with the knee. He's got to rehab. He just got surgery yesterday, so we're cutting him some slack. Right, AJ? We got to cut him some slack.
He's on drugs, man. He doesn't know what's going on. He was saying, like, some crazy shit earlier, taking wild picks. Listen, man, that's Freddie. He's listening right now. Freddie, you know, thumbs up, dude. You did it.
He's not
Everything went well.
Fred's not watching.
For sure he's watching. He's just sitting back, man, eating his Haagen-Dazs. He's just sitting back, just chilling. He's like, oh, shit, let's see what oh, no. There's
Fred
AJ.
might be watching,
He's doing his Conor shit. He's doing his Conor shit again. Oh, no, Dave is going to go crazy.
I like your Fred impression. It's kind of in and out, you know? It's not really there.
Dave. No.
What?
Listen, man, Freddie, congratulations, 6 weeks, man. You're going to come and see me. We're going to go in the pool. We're going to do some aqua exercises, get you back on the mat, and that's it. But remember what I said, Dave, what I was about to say earlier in the show. What's important is that if you have a bit of a knee injury, get yourself braced, man. It's best to be like, get yourself a couple of Atamis, some of the best like names in knee pads. I love Atamis. You know, just protect it, man, and that's it. So you have a long career in jiu-jitsu because the knees, man.
The knees,
wrestling, man. It's not something that you want to have, like, you know, as you get older. But Freddie's taking care of that. He's got no like cartilage in his kneecap now. He's got to wear knee braces.
Yep.
If he wants to continue doing jiu-jitsu.
Well, we'll see what Freddie does. We're wishing him the best, and he'll be back on the mat soon. I don't have knee problems exactly, but my feet and ankles are always messed up, one way or another. Usually my feet.
That's another thing.
Something's going on with the feet, you know?
Maybe you're flat-foot. Did you ever?
I am flat-footed.
There you go. That would make sense.
Yeah, but then, you know, stuff happens where I'm, you know, my foot moves awkwardly and it hurts. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Who cares? You know? We keep walking. We walk it off.
Don't get that foot in the mouth.
We're tough here on the Ringside Report Network. We're not like, you know, sitting around just eating chips, watching some 3-hour game or whatever. You know, we're out there. We're out there. I don't know.
No names mentioned, Dave. No names mentioned,
I'm just saying. I don't want to mention any names. I was listening to...
So what a crazy week, man.
I don't know.
What?
I'm not going to get into it.
Tell me, what were you listening to?
No.
Now you piqued my interest.
No,
Come on,
okay.
Dave. Everybody wants to hear what you're listening to.
No, I was just listening to...
What are you listening to, bud?
I was listening to the radio yesterday, and it was so bad. I was just like, God, this is awful. It was just really bad. I was just shocked at how bad some people are at talking that do it professionally. Some people that are professional talkers are just so boring and bland and cannot manufacture any kind of conversation or charisma or interest. It's really hard it was hard to listen. I was like, let me see what's going on here. I never listened to the radio, you know. I was like, let me see. And it was so awful. I was like trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, you know. It was horrible. I'm not mentioning any names, you know, but...
you're boring, man.
Well, what am I going to do, bury a guy? It was a guy who was bad. Particularly, I was like shocked. I was like,
was
wow.
it a sports show?
I don't know.
I'm going to dig deeper. Is it sports, Dave?
Stop. We're not doing that game. We're not doing that game. We're previewing UFC 286. We're previewing UFC 286. I'm not here to play that with you. Come on, man. I don't want to hurt any feelings. I'm just saying. I was shocked. I was just like, wow, this is horrible. Come on, guy. Come on, guy. Do better. Anyways, we're here to do better. AJ, I mean, Although compared to AJ, he probably was excellent,
He was excellent.
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Look at you all dressed up for St. Patrick's Day. You're all excited?
Listen, man, it's St. Patrick's Day, man. I do it every year, man. I'm out and about. This year I won't be able to go really to the parade because Lucy is she's on vacation. I've been watching the little guy.
I love this.
Yeah,
Can we talk about
I've been
this?
solo. No, let's not get into it.
You don't want to talk about this?
I
think it's pretty great. You don't want to talk about this.
Well, Lucy's having a good time in Hawaii right now.
Right.
AJ is like he's playing what's that movie with Adam Sandler when he's a dad? I forgot it, but it's pretty much like pretty close.
Big Daddy.
The scenes are Big Daddy, yeah. Like
that
those
was
scenes
Jon
are
Stewart's
pretty close.
kid. That was Jon Stewart's kid in the movie. Yeah, Jon Stewart. He had a kid and he had to leave, so he left him with Adam Sandler for some reason.
Well, that's my life right now, man. I've been doing some crazy stuff.
Jon Stewart was out of town and he used to live with Adam Sandler, so the kid was left with Adam Sandler thinking it was, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure of how it all came to be that Adam Sandler had that kid, but you are now alone with
Big Daddy.
The kids while Lucy is out in Hawaii without you. Which I love because she deserves it for putting up with you the rest of the time. She deserves going to Hawaii. When you told me that, I was like, that's fantastic. Good for Lucy. And I was like, ha, ha, ha. Poor AJ.
Man, I'll tell you, it's been an interesting week so far, man. I've done some crazy stuff with them. I have to keep them entertained, right?
Well,
so
yeah.
Let me tell you, pissing against the wall is actually pretty fun. But I'm going to tell you, that movie is exactly my life story the last week. It's fun, man. I love being a big daddy.
The movie Big Daddy? Have you seen the movie Big Daddy?
Yeah.
All right.
I think he was an exceptional father.
Yeah, he was all right. He wasn't terrible, but...
he was a little bit rough. I understand that. I've been there.
No, he wasn't. You really haven't seen the movie Big Daddy.
Adam Sandler. He was a bit rough.
In the movie Big Daddy? I don't think so. With Rob Schneider as the delivery man with the accent?
Yeah.
Very offensive.
The best Rob Schneider.
So good. So good in that movie, too. Yeah, it was a classic Schneider performance, of which there are countless, right?
I met him.
So many.
He's not
so
a big
many
guy,
great Rob Schneider performances out there. You got to love him. I know AJ's a big fan. You got to be.
Man. Like I told you, I met him once, and I'm like, man, he was like
really?
Not the tallest dude in the world. Yeah, here in Montreal.
Huh.
I'm like, hey, dude, what's up? He's like, hey.
Wow, what a meeting.
That's how it started.
Did I ever tell you I met Rob Schneider? Oh, yeah? What happened? Oh, I said, hey, dude, what's up? And he said, hey. And oh, that was it. That was the meeting. It was quite
Listen, man, that says a lot, man. What are you talking about?
Does it?
I thought it was like it was nice of him
to say hi back
say, like,
to you.
Go, like he could have said, hey, go fuck yourself. But then it would have been a bad scene because I would have tackled him like there's no tomorrow. Stuffed him in like a sewer. Trust me.
Wow.
Guaranteed.
In a sewer.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, yeah. Welcome to Montreal, man.
My God. The other side of the tracks are showing, AJ. Take it easy.
Yeah. Well, we've had a lot of action lately here in Montreal. A lot of action. We can't talk about it too much.
We can't? Okay. We shouldn't.
I don't know if it's such a good idea.
Omerta, right? Is that what you're
Omerta, man.
Yeah. Got to keep the Omerta
Keep those
going.
lips sealed, man. Mm-hmm. Remember what Paulie said? Don't talk too mumuch. It's going to get you killed.
I think the exact words from Paulie Gauthieri was, keep your fucking mouth shut. I think that's what he said.
I miss Paulie, man. Oh, what a great character.
He was the best. The best. Nobody better. Nobody could snap their fingers like Paulie Gauthieri, Wrap these rolls up for my ma, Tremendous. Cellophane. So good.
Remember the episode when he was like, he went to see the psychic and he completely flipped out? He's like, how does the bitch know this?
Who you been talking to? That's what he says to him. Huh?
Seen dead people.
Yeah, this is, you know what this is? This is black magic voodoo. Sick shit. He grabs the chair and he throws it. Fucking queers. Crazy. Oh, that's the best. That's the best. Man. He's yelling at the ghosts. He's throwing a chair at the ghosts that are following him. Fantastic. What a show. Sopranos is the best show ever. It's my favorite show.
Listen. I'm
going to do a Sopranos podcast one day. I've been talking about it for way too long. I think I'm actually going to do it because I know that show inside out. There's nobody that knows that show more than me, and I'm willing to stake a podcast on it. All right?
Let's do it, man. And I'm going to tell you something.
No, I'm going to do it with my brother. Maybe have you in it for the authentic Italian flavor. I don't know.
For sure. I'm going to be in there. Like, I'm going to tell you something. When Sopranos first came out, I was like, everybody came up to me, Anthony, you got to watch Sopranos. It's so cool. It's so cool. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to watch no, like, racist show on Italians and all that kind of stuff. They're like, no. And I refused to watch the Sopranos in, like, the beginning. I'm like, I'm not going to support people making fun of Italians. We get enough at comedy shows. Let's not make a series out of it. So I'm like, I'm not watching it. One night, man, I think it was season 3 or 4. It was season 3 when I was at home and I was stuck. And there was, like, this channel on, and I'm just started to watch it, and all of a sudden it was The Sopranos. I'm like, motherfucker, I can't believe I'm watching this shit. And I'm watching it, and I'm watching it, and I'm watching it, and then I'm like, holy shit, man, this shit is good. And I couldn't believe it. I became an instant Soprano fan. So I went from season 3, I went on like a crazy Soprano binge. I was watching Sopranos nonstop every day so I could catch up to season 3. I was going crazy. Just to say, I was against the Sopranos in the beginning.
Yeah.
I thought they were making fun of Italians again. I mean.
I'm telling you, I don't know how many times I've seen the episodes because it's too many to count. I've seen all of them way too many times, and I'm still watching it. I'm in the process of going through Sopranos again. I watch it constantly. I'm always rewatching the entire series of Sopranos all the time. I've seen it probably hundreds of times. Every episode, I know that show inside and out. You're not going to find a bigger Sopranos fan than me. I don't know what it is. Something about that show. It's just so funny. It just hits in so many good spots. It's perfect. It's a perfect show. It's so good.
In the liver. I'm going to tell you something, Dave. The last episode was the most confusing for me because it's still like I'm trying to figure out what it meant. Like
he died.
He's dead?
Mm-hmm.
Dead as a doorknob.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's dead. Because, he has that conversation with Bobby in the boat. Bobby Bacala.
Don't be a bacala.
Oh, I love Bobby Bacala. Bobby Bacalieri. What a guy. He has that conversation with Bobby in the boat, and it's like, when it happens, you probably don't hear it. Probably nothing. It's like, you don't even know. And that's what happened to him. Everything went to black because it happened. He got shot.
Everybody has their day, man.
Well, usually it's not by shooting. Usually, most people don't die by gunshot. It's not the Old West, but in the mafia world, a lot of them die by gunshot.
Except for Teflon Don, man. He was okay till the end.
Are you talking about Leonardo Rizzuto? Who got shot up there on the road? And he was like, who is a... what do you say? What do they call him? They don't say he's like...
Capo.
No. But he's... But because officially he can't be called whatever, right? He's like he's allegedly the leader of a mafia crew in Montreal, like mafia, right? He's an alleged leader of mafia, and he was like shot on a highway or something. It's crazy stuff, like right out of The Sopranos. And he got hit, I think, and he managed to pull his car over, but he got hit, and like he's, I think, okay, like he didn't die, right? He survived, but it's just crazy stories that you hear, And as a big fan of Sopranos, when I hear that stuff in the news, I'm like, my God, is that real? That happens? Oh, yeah. It happens all the time in Montreal. What a crazy city. People are always getting murdered in mafia styles, But this man did not get murdered, so good. Congratulations. I hope his leg is all right. We're wishing the healing of a leg for Leonardo Rizzuto and the healing of a leg for Fred. Not to say that I'm in favor of Leonardo Rizzuto or what he does or whatever. I don't know him at all.
Dave.
But I'm not saying I'm in favor or against. I'm just saying I'm wishing him a speedy recovery because any human that's injured,
nice.
You got to have empathy for.
That's
very all
nice
I'm saying,
Dave. Very nice.
Right? I'm just an empathetic human.
You are, bud.
I'm
You're
a
wearing
good
the
guy.
Montreal T-shirt.
Best
you
guy
are a
ever.
good guy.
Best guy ever.
You are.
That's right.
You are. If you were a girl, I'd kiss you. But I'll tell you something.
Please.
You know,
just the thought of that disgusts me so much. What are you, Vito Spatafora over there? Take it easy.
Listen, they even had a television show here in Montreal about the mafia. Remember, it was a really popular TV show. I can't think of it right now.
There's been a bunch of shows. I don't know.
No, but it was a series that was going on. It was about the Rizzutos and the whole like crime family with the Hells.
Let's talk about the UFC.
Well,
where's Angelo? Where's Angelo Contagonis to tell us to get back to the UFC stuff? You know.
Yeah, Angelo. Where's Angelo lately,
We're drifting too far into AJ land. I don't want to. You know, Fred's not here to keep us on track.
Yeah, true. So let's talk about like the other mob-controlled stuff. UFC 286, man.
USADA, the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency.
Listen, man.
And Conor McGregor. You want to talk about that? Because that's something, right? Conor is still not in the USADA testing pool. He said, "Oh, we're gonna." Let me read you the quote from Conor McGregor, who was talking to, I think, Helwani in an interview, right?
Yeah,
Here
what
is
happened there?
What? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, man.
What do you mean? What happened where?
No, I want to hear what you were saying there,
Oh,
bud.
okay. I was like, what happened? What do you mean? You're like, what happened there? I was like, I don't know. Did something happen? So here's Conor McGregor. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not, I'm not rushing the thing, all right? When Conor was asked about getting into UFC USADA drug testing pool. There's hurdles and whatnot, but we're in contact. We're in constant communication. And there's an interview scheduled and a meeting happening, and then it will be official. But the 6-month thing is not what they had said was it's 2 clean tests and off I go. So that's why I'm not – I assume it won't be too long. That's the quote. Now, I'm adding some drama to it, but he is tiptoeing around a lot of shit there. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not rushing the thing, all right? Why aren't you being drug tested? Well, there's hurdles and whatnot, but we're in constant communication, and there's an interview scheduled. We're going to have a meeting. You're going to have a meeting about your drug testing? Is that standard procedure for UFC fighters? Well, I'm Conor McGregor, so, you know, standard procedure doesn't really apply to me. Yeah, but you're a fighter, and you should be fighting on an even playing field with all the other fighters and the fighters that you're fighting, right, Conor? Well, you know, I mean, I don't know. There's stuff in me that I gotta clear out, and maybe USADA doesn't like it, and maybe they'll make an exception if, you know, they realize I'm Conor McGregor. Like, that's some shady shit. And Helwani just kind of was like, yeah, all right, fair enough. What?
He's not Dave Simon. Dave would have put the pressing
I don't know.
questions
I'd be
on
like,
him.
okay, well, I assume it won't be too long. Well, what's the delay? Why has there been a delay? I don't know if Helwani asked him that, but there's no, you know, answer to that. I'm not seeing headlines about that. It's just Conor kind of tiptoeing around. Yeah, I'm not getting drug tested because, I don't know, didn't feel like it. I don't want them to know that I'm half cocaine, half man. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't understand why Conor's not being in the USADA testing pool, but I could guess, you know? I could imagine.
It's a wild guess.
You know? The guy looked pretty jacked a few months ago. He had a big injury, and then he came back all jacked. And usually a good way to heal up from injuries, I've been told, is using steroids. So, you know, I don't think cocaine helps you from injuries, AJ. I know you're doing the nose thing, but I don't think that actually helps. Maybe it does. Who knows? I've never done cocaine or steroids, so I'm not really an expert on these things.
Keep going, Dave.
So this guy, I just can't believe it. You know, I'm just in shock at what's happening with Conor McGregor because he's got a fight coming up. Like, he's coaching the Ultimate Fighter. He's in charge of young minds of the UFC, right? Like future fighters. He's supposed to fight Michael Chandler at the end of this thing. And the rules are 6 months in the drug testing pool with at least 2 clean tests. That means you have to be in the pool for 6 months where they test you at random. And if they test you twice, which they will test you twice, and you pass both, then you can fight. But you have to be in the USADA drug testing pool a minimum of 6 months to be able to fight in the UFC currently. However, Conor McGregor says, and this is breaking news, Conor McGregor tweeting this about an hour ago, a couple hours ago, I guess at this point. And AJ, you can help me try to decipher what this means because you're fluent in Irish, right? With the Ireland and everything.
That I am, son. That I am.
So you could tell me what going in the bin means. USADA is going in the bin.
Maybe him and beans. He's going in the beans.
Maybe Colin the bin?
Could be.
I don't know. I think USADA is going in the bin.
Where's Wally?
Means USADA is going in the trash bin. USADA is trash. USADA is getting tossed away. We're getting rid of USADA. We're getting USADA out of the picture. USADA is going in the bin. That's an interesting tweet from Conor McGregor following that interview a couple days ago where he said, we're going to have a meeting and da-da-da-da-da. And now he's like, USADA going in the bin. To me, that sounds like he had the meeting with USADA and maybe it didn't go so well. So, the biggest star in the sport may not be able to fight. That's the bottom line of this, is that Conor McGregor may not be able to fight in the UFC in 2023. Because as time keeps on ticking, we're running out of time. We're running out of space. I mean, the UFC will stick him on whatever card that they can as soon as he's ready, when he's ready, but it's mid-March now, guys. It's March 16th. Happy 316 Day. Oh, hell yeah. Stone Cold Day. What? Gonna crack a Steve Weiser? What?
Yeah, but tomorrow's more important.
Cold Steve Austin. It's 316 Day, AJ. Happy 316 Day. But, right, we're sitting here in March, mid-March. He has to be in the drug testing pool for 6 months. We knew this in what? November, that he still wasn't in the drug testing pool when we were talking about this? And it was like, oh, yeah, he's going to re-enter the drug testing pool in January or February because, you know, when he comes back, he'll need to be in it for 6 months. And he hopes to be back by the summer. But now, March, it's like, you're still not in this thing? You're still not getting drug tested? When are you going to fight? Are you going to fight? Are you going to re-enter the drug testing pool and just test positive? Like, I don't understand what the deal is. I think he's trying to get an exemption for everything. I think that's what's happening right now. He's trying to negotiate a drug test. He's trying to say, look, I have this, and this in me. So when you test me, that's what you'll find. So is that cool? And USADA's like, no. Because that's illegal, Connor. We can't allow you to do things that no one else is allowed to do. But you know Conor McGregor. That's kind of the attitude. Allow me to do things that no one else is allowed to do because I'm Conor McGregor. But that only works to a certain point. It works with the UFC. It might not work with the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. So the more time passes, the more I wonder, is he going to fight Michael Chandler? I think that fight is officially in jeopardy. And maybe even off the table for 2023, honestly. Because if he's not getting drug tested now, is he going to get, will he be in the USADA testing pool by April 1st? Right? Because if he is, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's 6 months. So he won't be ready to fight until October 1st if he enters April 1st. So he'll need 6 full months in the pool before he's allowed to step into an octagon. So we're talking about minimum now October, when we were thinking it would be probably late summer. But now I'm thinking it might be November, December, perhaps January 2024. But it's now getting pushed further and further back. And it's not like the UFC can get rid of USADA just for the Conor fight, because the optics of that would be terrible. Everybody would just pile on the UFC and say, come on, man. The fighters would be upset. Everybody would be pissed. You can't do that. You can't make an exemption for Conor because he's on some shit. You know? That's not how it works. So Conor's not fighting. Which sucks.
Unless,
on,
Dave, there's always an unless, man. Because you know what? Dana White, man, you know, he can make things happen. And it all comes down to, like what you said, money. Because pay-per-views is what sells. And Dana White wants Conor because he sells pay-per-views. If you look in the past, man, you remember Overeem. Overeem was ranked number 2 at one point, and they tossed him from the main card on a pay-per-view card to make room for CM Punk because CM Punk sells. And that's how it goes, man. I'm just saying that Dana will find a way to make it exempt. I know that.
And so did Overeem at the time somehow.
He did.
Not anymore, by the way. You see he got suspended from the he did a kickboxing fight, and he got suspended for a year because he tested positive for something.
Yeah, I guess he didn't think that they were going to do like that, like detailed testing. But
he
what I'm trying
big
to say
in that
is
fight
that
too.
Dana will do what it takes to get those pay-per-view numbers. And now, back to what I was saying with CM Punk, he brings in the numbers more than Overeem can. And with Conor is the meal ticket to everybody. But there's another side to it too. I agree with you, because if USADA decides to like change their way somehow or another, something goes.
They can't change their ways for Conor, man. They can't just make an exemption for Conor McGregor because he makes money. You can't do that.
I agree with you. But if it does happen, man, Dana is the type of guy that can make that happen. Somehow or another, he can make that happen. But look, I think Conor
but it won't.
But
AJ, that's what I'm saying. It won't, because it can't. Because
I don't think so either.
You know, what I'm saying is how people would react, how the fighters would react if USADA was like, okay, Conor, you're fine. The rules don't apply to you. They apply to everybody but you and maybe Michael Chandler for this fight. You can't do that. Right?
Yeah, but Conor talks, man. Conor gets away with a lot of stuff. We've seen that. We've seen him We've seen him throwing dollies
of the sport
buses and like destroying almost the whole card. And AJ, Conor could walk.
That's like saying, hey, Conor, you're Conor. You make a lot of money, right? You're a valuable asset to the sport. Okay?
Big time.
So in your fights, you can kick people in the face when they're on the ground. You can knee them in the head too. The rules of MMA don't apply to you, Conor. If you want, you can you can poke them in the eye, kick them in the balls. Whatever you want to do, Conor, that's okay. That's okay. Your opponent can't do that shit. He'll get disqualified. But you could do it because you're Conor McGregor, and we want you to win. You could do steroids. Matter of fact, why don't you get 3 of your buddies in the cage with you, make it a 4-on-1 beatdown, because we want Conor to win.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't do that. You can't say, oh, special rules just for Conor. You can't.
Could be interesting.
You can't do what could be interesting. What are you talking about? Could be interesting. Could be interesting. Yeah, AJ's in favor of just changing the sport so Conor wins all the time. How about that?
I'm just saying,
you're allowed
they might have done it for Jon Jones.
Chair, okay? You can use weapons. You can do whatever you want, and your opponent has to play within the rules of MMA. Actually, no. He can't use punches. Both of his hands have to be tied behind his back. You can just kick him in the nuts until he quits. How about that?
Sounds like the Russian fighting games. But I'm going to tell you something.
Well, Dana White would do that because of slap fighting and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
He's liable to do something like that. Ridiculous.
Dana could do a lot of shit, man. And I'm not going to get into it. Jon Jones, the heavyweight champion of the world, legend of the sport. But you know what? There was some, turn the eyes on, the picograms things and all that kind of stuff.
Here we go. Never let it go.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm just saying. Hey, it's not me that's asking those questions. These are, from our listeners. I'm just, repeating them.
Jon Jones tested clean back then. USADA granted him an exemption because there was something. Picograms is the unit of measurement, right? So there was something called picograms of a banned substance in Jon Jones' sample, but they allowed him to fight anyways, and people raised a stink about that, saying, why are there traces of this banned thing? And Jon Jones explained it away with some sort of supplement or whatever, or you know, he had a failed test with a banned supplement, and it was just remnants of that was in it. Like, and USADA agreed. That's the point, really, is that it was such a small amount in the Jon Jones drug test. It was picograms, which AJ has clung on to, thinking that picograms is some sort of drug that Jon Jones was on. But really, it is the tiny, tiny unit of measurement that we all learned about at that time when Jon Jones was granted that exemption by USADA. But this is not that. This is different with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor has not been tested at all.
Wait. Listen, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they make an exception once when Brock Lesnar was fighting Mark Hunt? Think about that. Brock Lesnar was like packed to like 110% full of like roids, and he fought Mark Hunt. And that happened. I mean, you know, there's always an exception. You know, things can be made, Dave, depending who the name is. Brock Lesnar. CM Punk.
There was a deal with Brock Lesnar, right? There was something fishy with Brock Lesnar. They did rush him back when he fought Mark Hunt. And
AJ knows.
I think the deal with Brock was that he had two negative tests, right? So he was allowed to fight, but then there was another test that they didn't get the results for until after the fight, and that was a positive test, but it was taken before the fight. So there was some thought that perhaps they were withholding the result of the positive test to let the fight go. I think Mark Hunt filed a lawsuit, but nothing ever really came of it, as far as I know.
Well, that's what made like that whole thing with Mark Hunt and the whole legal matters and whatever. He's really like erased the UFC, a guy who was a legend in the sport of MMA. I mean, there's a lot of bad blood between Mark Hunt, Dana White, and the Brass. And it all comes really from the beginning of that particular fight where he's like, how the hell can that happen? He was basically a guinea pig sent in, you know, and he gets slaughtered.
Yeah, he thought that the UFC and USADA knew that Brock had tested positive prior to the fight, but still allowed Brock to fight. But they claimed that they didn't get the result of the test until afterwards, which I have no reason not to believe them. But again, that was a different issue. Like, Brock was tested. You know, he was tested, and he did test negative a couple of times and was allowed to fight. Conor has not been tested. Conor is saying, again, let me read you the quote, because I just think it is so damning the way he kind of stammers around everything. He's asked about getting back in the USADA drug testing pool for the UFC. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not rushing the thing, all right? There's hurdles and whatnot, but we're in contact, we're in constant communication, and there's an interview scheduled and a meeting happening, and then it will be official. But then he goes, but the six-month thing is not, what they had said is 2 clean tests and off I go. So that's why I assume it won't be too long. So what I am getting from that quote is Conor is saying it's not necessarily being in the pool for 6 months. It's just giving them 2 clean tests, and then he's allowed to fight. But that's not the rule. That is not the rule. The rule is you have to be in the testing pool for 6 months and have 2 clean tests. A minimum of 2 clean tests while you're in that drug testing pool to be drug tested at random for 6 months prior to any UFC fight. That is the rule as far as everyone knows it. But there may be loopholes. I mean, everybody thought that you couldn't do IVs after fights, and then we had the whole Islam Makhachev thing, and it's like, well, you can do IVs, but a very small amount, but there's no real way to tell how much fluid you put in the IV, so it's kind of a gray area. And everybody was like, wait a second, you could use IVs to rehydrate? Well,
yeah, because we just changed the rule.
Only if you get a doctor to say that you're allowed to do it, are you allowed to do it. Or you could get like 100 milliliters done by a private person, a nurse or whatever that you hire.
Only 100.
But only 100 milliliters, nothing more, which is kind of fishy. And there's talk maybe Islam Makhachev knows those rules very well and is able to figure out ways to bend them and use them to his advantage.
Yeah,
so there's always little loopholes, you know, that you're like, wait a second, I thought that was illegal. And then, you know, guys at the top level with the good management and the fancy lawyers and stuff, they kind of read through the details and are like, well, you can actually do this. You don't have to do that. And everybody's like, oh, let's do that then. Make it way easier, right? So there are ways to cheat in MMA without actually cheating. There are definite loopholes, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know. You know, I haven't read all those contracts. I don't know how it all works.
You gotta read that fine print, Dave. You gotta read that fine print.
From being in the sport for as long as we have been in the sport, it seems to me that Conor's up to something, right? When he's not getting drug tested for 6 months. Well, when he's not in the drug testing pool, but he's coaching the Ultimate Fighter and he's got a fight coming up, you wonder, like, well, why aren't you in the drug testing pool? If somebody went to me, Dave, you're coaching the Ultimate Fighter against AJ, you're fighting at the end of August, you need to be in the USADA drug testing pool. I'd be like, yeah, all right. Put me in the drug testing pool. Dave, you have a ridiculous amount of THC in your blood. Don't worry about that. I'm allowed to fight, right? Yeah. So I would be in the pool is what I'm saying. I'm not worried about what they might find. You know? THC and mushroom particles. I'm not worried about that. I'm all right.
Lots of mushrooms, man.
Take it easy. But
you're gonna start growing them on your toes, man.
Like I have nothing to hide in a drug test, and the only reason you would not do a drug test would be because you maybe have something to hide. Do we have a call or something?
Come on, call in.
I don't know. We may have a call from a member. I'm not sure.
That's it, man. Call in.
Do we have a call?
Say your piece.
I can't tell. Somebody's got to tell me. Yeah? No? No.
Yeah.
I thought we had a call.
Oh,
I was confused there. I saw something on my screen here. I thought the production team was trying to signal me, but no.
Listen, if you want to call in, man, feel free. Put in your 2 cents worth.
Yeah, I think you can call in, right?
Of course you can call in, man.
On this show? Yeah,
it only says that on every
only if you're a member, though.
Report.
Only if you're a member. Only if you're cool like Angelo, who's a member. Shout out Angelo Contagonis, who went to join.ringsidereport.net. Join.ringsidereport.net. You support the channel.
Angelo.
Support the channel, you know? Because
support it.
It's good to do. It's good to do. Support the channel. What the hell's going on, AJ? All right.
Listen,
Conor McGregor's fishy, man. It's just fishy.
Listen,
I don't like
listen,
it.
I'm going to tell you something. Look,
move on.
You've been dissing Conor so much.
I love him. I want him to fight, but come on, man. What's going on?
Listen,
He's shady.
I think you've got a point. Listen, I think you've got a point. It depends on what happens with Dana White relooking exactly like the USADA rules and whatever. If nothing, how can I say it, sort of like kind of makes its way in for Conor to fight, we won't see him till October. And I think you're right. I think we're probably going to see Conor fight in October. He's still going to be fighting this year.
November.
I think October is probably a bet. Listen, there's enough time for him to get into a proper training camp. And I've seen him in the last couple of days, man. He looks jacked. He looks good. He looks amazing. And to be honest, we've been dissing so much of Conor. But when you think of Conor in the last couple of days, this guy has been doing great things for a lot of people. He's donated over $3.7 million to Tunnels to Towers. He comes in and supporting all the firemen, all the veterans. So Tunnel to Towers is basically like a group that helps like veterans and war soldiers that have got injured
War soldiers.
soldiers that got injured in combat and all that kind of stuff. And what they do is they help them like build like housing, like mobility assisted like homes.
So he's
and all
giving
that kind
money
of
to
stuff.
charity, but that has. I'm not dissing him. I'm not saying he's not charitable and very rich.
He is very charitable.
Okay, he's rich and famous and charitable and all that good shit.
Come on,
okay,
Dave, say it.
But he can't get drug tested because maybe he's on the sauce or whatever, right? Like he's being shady. He's not getting drug tested, and he's not fighting this summer.
Listen, I don't think Jon Jones is going to be fighting either. So it's going to be one of those summers where we thought we were going to get.
No.
Yeah.
He's fighting.
I don't think it's going to happen, dude. I really don't think it's going to happen. I believe. Yes. So, like, the last couple of hours, like, Jon Jones is saying that Stipe looks like he's backing out. And I said that from the first time when they announced it after Jon Jones won that fight.
AJ.
I saw
You're wrong again.
I am. I'm going to be wrong now, and you're going to see. I don't think that fight is going to happen. I think Jon Jones will fight, but it won't be Stipe. There's something about Stipe that he gave me that look where it's like he's going to say what he has to say because he's on the spot. But I don't really think he wants to fight Jon Jones, and I think this is going to be the situation where Jon Jones and Stipe won't happen. I'm just saying. I think this summer went from Conor to Jones. No, you watch.
Okay, so here's Jon Jones this afternoon. Yo, Stipe Miocic, only you in the UFC, and I know the truth. You dodged me all of 2022, July, September, and December. Now I'm hearing rumors that we may not be fighting this July. That's what AJ's saying. AJ spreading rumors. Right, AJ? Right?
Listen, man, that's Bones Jones that's saying that shit,
okay.
Not me, man.
Okay. You want to know what Stipe says? Stipe says this.
Stipe is going to say, yeah, we are.
Stipe says, see you in July.
Jon Jones, I tell you.
See you in July.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean the fight.
July 8th, there's the poster.
See you in July so he can have like
title on the line. Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic. This fight is happening. This fight is happening.
I don't think so. I don't know,
Stipe thinks so. I don't know why you think you know more than Stipe, who's one of the guys fighting in the fight. How's that work? How do you know more than Stipe Miocic, greatest heavyweight champion in the history of the UFC, who's one half of that big main event?
Listen,
how do you know more than him?
Listen, I don't know more than him, but I can tell you one thing. Is that something, like, right from the bat, when I saw him and the way he was answering questions all the way up to today, I'm like, man, Stipe's not happening, dude.
Would want to fight Jon Jones after that shit?
Nagano wants to fight Jon Jones.
If he did, he'd be there fighting him. If he wanted to fight him so bad, he would have fought him. Francis Ngannou, if he really believed he had the chance to beat the greatest MMA fighter in the history of the sport, and he walked away. He asked the UFC for his own sponsorship in the cage. He asked the UFC for a fighter representative at all the UFC meetings that would then report back to the fighters. He was asking the UFC for things in his contract that the UFC was never, ever going to grant him, and anybody representing Francis Ngannou in those negotiations should have known that, because they're not going to change the way they do business just to sign Francis Ngannou. They were willing to throw a ton of money at him, but that's not what Francis wanted. Francis wanted all sorts of other stuff for some reason, and then he just decided to walk away, and now he's chasing a big money boxing match, and he doesn't seem to give a shit about the undercard boxers and how they're doing and how they're represented with the promoters and all of that. Like, he doesn't care about them. So I'm wondering what the deal is with Francis Ngannou. I'm really wondering why he walked away, because sure, there are issues with the UFC. He's got legitimate beefs with the UFC. They gave an interim title real quick when he wasn't ready for the quick turnaround. That's fair for Francis Ngannou. But I think the UFC was willing to pay him a ton of money to fight Jon Jones, and he had all these other demands. And I like Francis, and I'm all for the fighters getting paid and the fighters having rights. And I don't disagree with some of the things he was asking for. But you got to know. that when you're asking the UFC for some of this shit, they're never going to give it to you. And if that's the point where you're like, well, then I'll walk away, you know you're going to walk away. You're not negotiating in good faith with the UFC. Like, I could go and negotiate with a company and know that the job is worth maybe $100,000, and I could walk in and I'd be like, I want $1 million, and I want your office, and I want
your wife.
I want
your kids.
Once in a while, I want somebody to tickle my balls after my lunch break or something. I want to take a nap for half of the day. I also only want to show up on Wednesdays. You know?
That's nice, actually.
Nobody's going to do that. They'll be like, yeah, okay, thanks for coming. We wanted to give you this job, but your fucking demands are ridiculous. You know? Like, come on. You can't ask for the world just because you want it and you think you deserve it. Not saying Francis.
Dave, did you ever think
I'm not
that's
saying
a ploy?
Francis doesn't deserve a big chunk of cake. Like, this guy deserves big money and all of that. He deserves respect, and the UFC should treat him with respect and give him the fights that he wants on his time frame and all of that. But some of the other shit he was asking for, it's like, they have deals with these companies, man. You're not going to get your own sponsors in the cage. Like, that's just not. And if they do that for you, like, do you want that for every fighter? Because they're not going to do that now. Like, that's how it used to be. But no, they didn't.
Well, Proper 12 is there. I mean, like,
Proper 12 is a sponsor of the UFC. I don't think you understand how sponsorships work. Proper 12 pays the UFC to be advertised in the cage. So,
I don't think in the beginning. I think it was part of Conor's fight. I think, anyways. I'm just saying, there's always
maybe they gave him free advertising instead of some money that they were going to give him anyways. But no matter what, that's Proper 12 money going to the UFC, not vice versa. You really get confused with sponsorships.
No, man,
you don't seem to know how they work.
Oh, I know how they work very well, dude. Trust me, Manscaped. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. Well, that worked very well until you blew it for us, Dave.
Did it?
Thanks for, now you got hairy balls hitting your ankles. I'm going to tell you this.
Because I still got the stuff they sent us. I just never, there's no, it's like, all right, you want another razor? No.
Well, great product. Listen, I'm going to tell you something, Dave.
It's a decent product. I'm not saying bad about the product. I'm just saying.
Listen, you don't fuck around, Dave. Listen, I want to get back to the Ngannou thing. I think Ngannou made those conditions knowing that he could walk away. Like, he knew that Dana White wouldn't have met his demands. He wanted to fight in boxing.
He wanted to box. That's really, that's it. He didn't want to fight in the UFC anymore. He wanted to go box and see if he could get the big money. But he wasn't honest about that.
Well, you know what, man? Dana's made exceptions for Conor to box. I mean, like, there's a lot of things that can be done. Right now, Ngannou is not, there's nothing saying that Ngannou's fighting Tyson Fury. There's nothing out there that's even coming close to make that fight happen. So Ngannou's in a position right now where he could come back to the UFC, make some pretty good demands, and probably get what he wants, because the big money fight, the biggest pay-per-view fight right now would be Ngannou stepping in to fight Jon Jones. That would be a crazy
pay attention
pay-per-view.
To the sport?
That would bring pay-per-view numbers that Conor brings in, if not even more. I'm telling you.
Do you follow what Dana White says and stuff like that? Like, are you in the loop?
I'm in the loop. Dana talks money, man. Dana is always talking money.
He said he's never going to bring Francis in. He's not interested.
He said that about Ronda Rousey. There'll never be female fighters in the UFC. That will never happen.
But you said that Francis will probably get what he wants. He's not going to get what he wants. You think they're going to let Francis wear his own sponsors in the cage all of a sudden?
Man, you never know, dude. You never know. You don't know what can happen. Anything is possible.
If they do that for him, other guys are going to want it. And then what happens to the business model? Well, it's all about control. They got to control
but it's also
the fighters.
About numbers.
It's what they do.
It's also about numbers.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying how they operate.
Listen, dude, if Ngannou could bring in certain numbers, they can make options that other fighters can't meet. So that's the difference. You got big names, man. You got Jon Jones. You've got Ngannou. You've got Conor McGregor. You've got like names that will bring in pay-per-view numbers that will smash. They can come up with things that they should be entitled to. They're bringing in those numbers, man. Conor McGregor has brought in more pay-per-view blockbusters than any other combat fighter in the history of the game, man. So he should be allowed to do what he wants. And I think this fight between Ngannou and Jon Jones, which I think will happen at some point, I'm telling you, as long as Jones is still in the heavyweight, it will happen. Even quicker than I think he's going to have that boxing match. I'm telling you. I think it's going to be quicker than that boxing match.
Okay. We'll see. I think Jon Jones is going to fight Stipe in July and possibly retire after that as the greatest of all time, but we'll see.
I don't think Jones is – no.
Okay. Well, let's see if we agree or disagree here at UFC 286. It's coming up Saturday afternoon. 5 p.m. Eastern Time is the start of this one. We're going to be doing a live watch-along here on the Ringside Report Network. Are you going to be here or there?
Yeah, man, I'm going to be there. What the hell?
Okay, good. Good, because I got your scarf. You left your scarf here.
That's where it is. I've been looking for that thing, man.
Yeah.
Look at that nice scarf. You could wear it, Dave.
I don't want to.
Come on, man.
No.
It got touched by Conor.
What? Okay.
What time is it starting at, by the way? Just to make sure
said
everybody's on the same
5
page.
p.m. Eastern Time is when the watch-along will start, when the pay-per-view will start, coming up Saturday afternoon.
We're going to have like a big crowd, man.
Leon Edwards fighting at home in London, England. That's why it's in the afternoon. Taking on Kamaru Usman. It is the trilogy fight. They are 1-1. Usman won the first. Edwards won the second to win the welterweight title with a head kick knockout in the final 90 seconds of the final round about 8 months ago. And now they're doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's the main event. Justin Gaethje, Rafael Fiziev is the co-main event. Gunnar Nelson, Brian Barberena on this card as well. Jennifer Maya, and Casey O'Neill. And Roman Dolidze against your boy, H.A. Marvin Vettori. So we will talk about those fights here. But I want to start with the main event. Leon Edwards defending against one of the greatest welterweights of all time. Not the greatest, obviously, because Kamaru, you know, he's no GSP. He was pretty good, though.
Listen, GSP lost too, Dave. Let's be honest, man. Come on,
yeah,
Dave.
But then he came back and obliterated Matt Serra. Obliterated.
Listen, man.
And then he went on the run of runs that Kamaru Usman could not match.
Listen, that's going to be this. Listen, I don't want to jump the gun, but I think that's going to be the same type of scenario that's going to happen on Saturday. And you know what? You can say what you want about Usman, but Usman was controlling that whole fight. Yeah, he lost. He got the head kick in the fifth. You can say what you want. There we go. Show those numbers. You can say what you want, dude, but the truth of the matter is Usman won the first round. Probably the best round for Edwards with the wrestling game.
Hang on.
In that first round.
Hang on. Who won the first round?
I thought Usman won the first round. Yeah,
bro,
the wrestling game was much better
watch
than
the fight
Edwards
again.
On that first.
Watch the fight again. Edwards won the first round clearly. That's the only round that he won other than the fifth where he knocked him out. Like, even close. Then he was losing that round. Edwards won the first round. Edwards took Usman down, mounted him, took his back. Edwards won the first round. No one disagrees with that. I don't know how you're starting off with that, AJ. You're already starting off wrong.
No. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. That was close.
Edwards won that round. How do you take his back and take him down and not win the round? Usman did nothing in the first round. I just watched the fight today. I just watched it today preparing for this.
Listen,
Edwards clearly won the first round. He lost 2, 3, and 4.
Let's say you give him exactly 2, 3, 4, and he was winning the
and
fifth
5
till he got a little sloppy. But you know what I'm saying is that won't happen again. Even the first, I mean, I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it again, but I thought it was pretty close, regardless of the back taking and whatnot. I thought his wrestling game was on point for Edwards. I got to give him credit. Again. I will, but I'm going to give him credit for that. Like, he was able to control Usman's wrestling, but that was the end of it, man. You know, he got lucky in the fifth. You know, that was Usman's like Anderson's moment. You know, like being sloppy, and he got caught. Big mistake, will never happen again. Just like George St. Pierre got caught with Matt Serra, it will not happen again. I'm telling you, it's going to be We saw that with Amanda Nunes, man. You know, the same thing. It was just, man, shit happens sometimes. Mind you, with Amanda, it was a lot more factors into that. With the COVID, her shoulder, there was all kinds of things that were not working for her to lose that fight. Usman, it was just a case of knowing that he was winning the fight. He coasted in the fifth. He wanted to showboat a bit, and it got caught. And, you know, we saw that with Anderson Silva. Usman did the same thing. Stupid mistake because he was winning that fight. 4 out of 5 rounds, okay, maybe. But, you know, if he didn't get that head kick, you know, he was winning a decision fight, you know, a pretty dominant decision. I'm just saying it's going to be a different Usman on Saturday, man. I love Edwards. You know, when you look at their statistics, man, I was looking at their statistics. They're pretty close, man, like in striking accuracy and whatnot. You're looking at, what was it for? Edwards was around, he throws about 50% of his significant strikes, while Usman throws about 53. They're very, very close. But when it comes to the defensive part, you know, Edwards is around 53%, and Usman was around 57%, like, defensive, like, capabilities. But I just think that it was just a bad night for Usman, and he learned from that. He was embarrassed, and he's going to come out like a freaking wolf on Saturday.
It was a bad night for Kamaru Usman. He got knocked unconscious.
Sure,
and it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. And I wonder about that. I wonder how he's recovered. I wonder about this fight, man. I'm not sure. I think I'm going with Leon Edwards.
Wow. And they're doing the Amanda Nunes thing.
I'm going with Leon Edwards for several reasons. And, well, first of all, he won the last fight. Say what you want about losing the fight. He was losing the fight. But in the end, his hand was raised. He walked out with the belt. And he knows now that he has the ability to knock out Kamaru Usman with that head kick. One head kick, boom, out. Usman, albeit powerful and strong, does not seem to have the striking ability to land that big shot on Leon Edwards. He had success in the first fight with pressure and takedowns. And Leon Edwards knows this. As long as he keeps the fight standing, he's good. So distance, movement, takedown defense are the keys for Leon Edwards. Do not get pressed up against the cage. Stay at distance. Stay in the middle. And use your kicks. Throw a lot of kicks because they're money. And I think Leon Edwards learned from the first fight. He learned what not to do, and he also learned what to do. And I don't know how much Kamaru Usman learned from the first fight, or the second fight, rather, the last one that they had, right? I don't think Usman learned that much. Because what did Usman do? He did what he always does. Pressure, takedowns, power shots, right? He got caught. But does his game change that much going into this fight? I don't think so. Because in his camp, in his mind, he had success. And he did, for the most part. But Leon Edwards now has a lot of things he's got to work on. Kamaru just has to avoid that head kick. But Leon Edwards, like, he had a lot of time to work on, okay, what went wrong here with Kamaru and what can we do better? And I think we're going to see a much better version of Leon Edwards. Kamaru Usman is 35 years old. Leon Edwards is 31. Kamaru Usman is just coming off the first knockout loss of his career, and he's coming out of his athletic prime. You hit 35, you get to be over 35, your athletic prime is coming to an end. Your MMA career is coming to an end. That's just the facts. That's how MMA works. That's how age works. Leon Edwards at 31 is just entering the peak of his athletic performance, of his MMA style. And that's why I think he's going to win. Also, London. They're fighting in London. He's an English guy. The crowd is crazy there. Crazy.
Nuts.
Loud,
Nuts.
Angry, and they are going to be 100% in Leon Edwards' corner. This whole card is centered around Leon Edwards.
The post-conference today, Dave, was nuts.
They love this guy, and Kamaru Usman is going to be the enemy on Saturday afternoon at the O2. So for all those reasons, I'm going with Leon Edwards. We know it's possible. We know it's possible, but we also know that it's possible for Kamaru Usman to win a 5-round decision against Leon Edwards because he was about 90 seconds away from doing it. But I don't think that this fight will be that fight. I think this will be a different fight. I think we will see a different fight play out than the last time. And I think it might be shorter. I think Leon Edwards stops him within 3.
What?
I like Leon Edwards hurting Kamaru and then finishing him a TKO. I got Leon Edwards with a finish within the first 15 minutes of this fight. It sounds crazy, right? It sounds crazy even when I'm saying it, but I don't know. There's something about just the conversion of all these elements that I'm talking about. I think Rocky Edwards is going to get it done. And he's an underdog going into this. The current champion, the defending champion, is the underdog going into this.
I mean, there's a reason for that, Dave. Let's be honest.
Of course. Kamaru Usman soundly won the first fight and was on his way to soundly winning their second encounter before getting kicked in the head.
And that's actually the key thing right there. If you have to take the 2 fights, the majority of those 2 fights, was Usman.
Yep.
And that's the difference. You know, it was an unfortunate thing that happened in the 5th. You know, Usman got caught. You know, yes, Edwards was practicing that move. You know, fake him and then drop that kick. That was something that they were planning on. Usman is planning not to get caught in that. And that's the thing. I mean, if you got to look at those 2 fights, there was no better fighter than Usman. And I agree with you one thing. Going into England, man, just like hearing the conference today, it was insane, man. I mean, the fans are like, in England, they're amazing. These guys come out and they party and they're going wild and they're going to support their guy. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of fans behind Edwards. Usman knows that, but Usman knows the game and he knows how to win. He made a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake. Every fighter has made a mistake except for Khabib. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think the results are going to be any different. I think I agree with you. I think it's going to be a shorter fight, and I think it's going to be on Usman. Because, again, when you looked at their last fight, you know, when you look at the total strikes that were landed, Usman threw 189 that connected out of 247 strikes. Usman was 189 out of 247. Listen, man, the guy's going to come out. He's going to do, like, he's not going to stay and read the game. He knows how Edwards fights. He's going to come in there aggressive from the first round. There's going to be no controlling the back. There's not going to be any grappling. I think Usman is going to come out and pepper him from the beginning. Edwards is going to know that. I don't think he's going to be able to go the 5th. We saw, like, Edwards going in the distance, man. The latter rounds, man, he doesn't look great. He doesn't look great.
No, he got tired. He got tired. Even in the Nate Diaz fight, he looked bad in that 5th round when he fought him there. But, you know, you say that, and at the same time, he knocked Kamaru Usman out with 90 seconds in the fight. So how bad is he really late in the fight?
Listen, man, shit happens to everybody, man. Chael Sonnen, Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, you know. Things happen, dude. People make mistakes. Just when they're winning the fight, you fuck it up. It happens. It's a mental mistake, but Usman wasn't a mental mistake. It was just that he got too complacent. He was in the groove. He thought he was gonna coast it and just basically like ham it up a bit, and it caught him. You know, when you're dominating like that fight, anybody's gonna want to like showboat a bit. It's normal. But the problem is that Edwards was able to deliver that kick, and it worked. It won't happen again on the 3rd fight. Saturday is going to be a different story. I think Usman's going to take back the belt in England.
All
and
right,
I feel for the English fans because Edwards is an amazing fighter. I'm not going to take away from him. This guy here, if Usman wasn't there, like there's no one to beat this guy. I think the guy to beat Edwards is Usman.
Well, he's done it before. Anyways. He's done it before. We'll see. We'll see on Saturday afternoon. I've got a feeling that Leon Edwards is going to get it done again. Angelo Contagonis agrees with you, AJ. He thinks that the fight's going to go the distance and Usman is going to pick up the win. Odds makers like that outcome as well. Kamaru Usman minus 250, the favorite. Leon Edwards plus 200, the underdog. But again, I remind you guys, you hit 35, shit goes south.
Yeah. But listen, man, he's 31 too. Like Edwards is like right there.
31 is a big difference between 30.
It is.
Dude,
I agree.
As a man who is just over 35 now, I could tell you there is a massive difference between 31 and 35. It's massive. And the further up you go in the 30s, you know, it's a big difference between like 37 and 31. You know what I mean? Big difference.
Sponsored by Viagra. Listen, I'm going to tell you, Dave.
I don't have any problems in that department. Again, AJ, I don't know.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something.
I'm good.
31, 35, I agree with you. There is some.
It's a difference.
Especially
when it comes to MMA.
I think that these guys
MMA, man, nobody gets better after 35. Nobody.
I know, dude, but Usman is it's a different game here, man.
There is no different. There is no different. That's what we've learned, man. No matter how good you are, there's a limit. There's a limit.
We'll see Saturday, man.
Yeah,
I just think Edwards is, you know,
Usman by decision. Usman by decision, minus 138. That is the most likely outcome according to Vegas. Leon Edwards by KO, plus 550. Let's go, Team Dave. We're going with Leon Edwards. How about the co-main event? Fizzy.
Ooh,
Fizman.
Crazy.
Fizman taking on Gaethje. Fizzy minus 234, the favorite. Gaethje plus 183. I like Fizzy. I think Gaethje is overrated. And I'll tell you why.
What?
I'll tell you why.
Jesus.
Everybody says, well, Gaethje's been fighting the best and da-da-da and the best in the world and all of this. But I will say to you something I've been talking about on this show for a long time. There are two divisions at 155. There's the celebrity division and there's the MMA division. And Gaethje's been coasting in this celebrity division for too long, and now he's about to fight one of the real MMA fighters. One of the real nose to the grind, working his way up the ranks, guy who's beaten some tough guys who are hungry because they're poor and they need the money. You know? The guys that Fizzy is fighting, these guys need that check. The guys that Gaethje is fighting are celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Justin Gaethje, since 2019, has fought only famous fighters. Donald Cerrone, who he beat, which, you know, Cerrone in 2019. Come on, buddy. Tony Ferguson in 2020. And again, that was when we realized, oh, Tony Ferguson's not El Kukui anymore. So he beat those two guys. Then he got a title shot against Khabib. What happened? He got destroyed, obliterated, like he wasn't even in the top 10. Then he fought another famous fighter, Michael Chandler, who's fighting, you know, guys like Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. Celebrity division. And then, after beating Michael Chandler, he got another title shot because he's a guy with a big following against Charles Oliveira. And what happened there? He got obliterated. Destroyed in that fight. Finished in the first round with a rear naked choke. So I will say again to you that as fun as he is to watch, he is overrated. He is not a top 5 or top 10 UFC lightweight. He's only fighting the famous guys that make money, that sell pay-per-views for the UFC. And now his manager has fucked up and put him in the cage with one of the real guys. With Fizzy. Touch Fizzy, get dizzy. Here comes Fizzy. Shout out to all my Yoshi's Island fans, know what I'm talking about. Anyways, Fizzy,
you got a point, Dave.
Knocked out Rafael dos Anjos in his last fight.
He's 37 years old.
Yeah, but put RDA against Justin Gaethje. What do you think happens? Seriously, what do you think happens? I think RDA wins. RDA is one of those guys who's like, can I get in the celebrity division? And they're like, nah. You know? He tries. Once in a while he gets in there, but he's fighting the real guys, RDA. RDA is legit as hell. RDA, you say he's old or whatever, he's won 3 of his last 4. The only guy that's beat him in his past couple of years is Fizzy. Right? RDA just beat Brian Barberena by neck crank in his last fight.
Yeah, nasty one too.
And Barberena's on this pay-per-view, so don't sleep on RDA. Fizzy has won 6 in a row.
Yep.
3 out of his last 4 by knockout. 30 years old, fights out of Thailand, from Kazakhstan. This guy is a killer.
Listen, man,
and
you're
this
right.
This fight
dude.
is going to be wild. Rafael Fiziev, tremendous kickboxer, tremendous Muay Thai. He's got wrestling too. He's the full package. And this fight will be the coming out party for Rafael Fiziev. And everybody's going to know his name. And everybody's going to be a fan of his. And hopefully the UFC can make a star out of this guy to the level of a Justin Gaethje so that he can move up and, you know, fight for the title and maybe, you know, make a go of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think Gaethje, as fun as he is, as popular as he is, maybe a little bit overrated. And the odds makers agree with me. They've got Fizzy minus 234. I'm high on Fizzy.
You got a point, Dave. Fizzy will make you dizzy, man. And I agree with everything you said. You're on point, man. Like, if you look at probably one of the best strikers in that division, it's Fizzy Dizzy. And let me tell you, man, when he went to fucking Thailand and he went to hone his skills there, man, he's going to manhandle Gaethje on Saturday night. And Gaethje hasn't been that great. He's been in his last 9 fights. He's 5-4. He got submitted twice. He got TKO'd twice. And you're going up against the best striker in the game. Man, this guy he is going to be that face. And Saturday night, he's going to prove it. I'm going with Fizzy. I totally agree with you. You know, I like Justin Gaethje when he came in and whatnot, but man, he's going up against something else on Saturday night. Fizzy will make you dizzy. Thank you, Angelo.
Touch Fizzy, get dizzy. All right, we got Fizzy. How about Gunnar Nelson, Brian Barberena? Barberena plus 280, Nelson minus 375. Yeah, that's pretty much where I am. I like Gunnar in that one. Should be a good fight.
Listen, man, listen. You can't get better jiu-jitsu than Gunnar. And you know what? If anything's going to happen out of this fight, it'll probably be a submission. This is one of those fights where the submission should come out on top.
Gunnar's got to be careful not getting into a dogfight with this guy because Barberena likes to brawl, you know? He could take a punch. Take him down, tap him out. That's how you finish this guy.
Yeah. But he hasn't
I got Gunnar Nelson,
much.
probably by submission, actually. I think a submission for Nelson makes sense.
You know, when you look at, like, his fighting time, he's only racked up about 15 minutes since, like, the pandemic. And that's the thing. I mean, it's not like the most active fighter in this fight, but let me tell you, he has the submission skills to be able to close Barberena.
Yeah. Jennifer Maia taking on Casey O'Neill. What?
No, I was going to say Barberena's been fighting older guys like his last fights. It's like nothing impressive, you know?
Nelson's getting older, too.
Is an old guy. Hey?
Gunnar Nelson's getting older, too, though.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But, like, when you get old, your grappling game becomes even more important.
All right, Jennifer Maia, Casey O'Neill on this one.
Ooh, that's an easy one, man.
Yeah? You like Maia?
No.
O'Neill? Is that easy?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that easy?
Oh, yeah. It's St. Patrick's Day O'Neill, man.
She's Scottish.
She is? She was O'Neill. My
I don't know.
English teacher
She's from Scotland.
She was Irish, dude. She's probably background Irish. Okay. O'Neill, dude. How many O's do you get in Scotland?
Okay. She is coming off a split decision win over Roxanne Modafferi, and Roxanne Modafferi's like,
yeah, that wasn't the greatest
last fight ever. And you're really high on Casey O'Neill? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Why is she struggling with Roxanne Modafferi?
Yeah, that wasn't a great fight. You're right. That wasn't the best.
I'm going with Maya.
What?
Yeah.
25-year-old O'Neill, man? Okay.
Maya's had more experience with tougher opponents. She's fought way tougher people. I'm going with Jennifer Maya. She's got good jiu-jitsu, black belt, good stand-up. I got Maya.
Listen, this is a step up for O'Neill. I agree with you on that. But I think she has what it takes to beat Jennifer.
Odds makers have O'Neill minus 172, Maya plus 140. And then we got Marvin Vettori against Roman Dolidze.
Ciao, bello. That's going to be, man, Dolidze, Roman.
He's been on a run, Dolidze. He's been knocking people out. Dawkins, Haas, Hermanson in his last fight. Knocked out Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson's a tough dude.
Listen, man, he's going up against Marvin Vettori, man, who's never been closed down. I mean, this guy is just a beast. He's so well-rounded. His cardio is insane. He can take a punishment. It's gonna be gonna be a crazy fight. But look what he did to Paulo Costa, man. I think Vettori's gonna come out and he's gonna dominate. And not only that, you were saying something about Cyril Gane. And you said something about Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane needs to get out of France to get into a real grappling team or in an area where grappling is dominant. Like you want to go to Dagestan, you want to go like to Midwest U.S. You want to go with Cormier's camp, whatever. You need to get with the best of the best. And the thing with Vettori, what he did is that he went to Thailand to up his striking game. So he's been in Thailand for quite a bit of time now, and I'm telling you, man, he was already deadly as it is. I like this striking, powerful striker, but he's been honing those skills in Thailand. He's coming in, and Roman's going to be his first victim. Thailandese style.
All right.
Spicy.
You ready for the parlays?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
I'm going to give you a 3-fight parlay.
That's it?
Yeah, and I've got it ready for you.
All right.
I'm keeping it simple. All right? It's a simple parlay. It's a 3-fight parlay from Team Dave. We're going to start with the first fight of the night, Juliana Miller. Juju. She is a very talented fighter, really fun to watch. She's going to be taking on Veronica Macedo, and Miller is a big favorite. I've got Juliana Miller. She's the first fight of the night, actually. And then we're going to go all the way to the last fight of the night with Leon Edwards plus 200 and Rafael Fiziev minus 234. It's a Team Dave parlay. It's a 3-fight parlay. $20 at Bet99 will get you $106.86 for that 3-fight parlay from Team Dave, Fizzy, Leon, and Juju. And AJ, before we get to your parlay, I have Fred's parlay. I'm going to give you the Team Fred parlay. He sent me his parlay. He's still recuperating from his knee surgery. Here is Team Fred's parlay. Fred is going with Kamaru. He agrees with you, going with Usman. Going with Gaethje, not going with Fizzy. Going with Barberena. Casey O'Neill. And Roman Dolidze. So Team Fred is like full of underdogs. And the payoff is gigantic. So let's take a look at Team Fred. Usman, Gaethje, Barberena, O'Neal, Dolidze, 20 will get you $1,575.28. So that is
nice
massive.
Payout.
That is a huge payout
That's
for Team
AJ
Fred.
roll, man.
Yeah, that's nuts. 20 will get you just over 1,500. Dolidze, O'Neal, Barberena, Gaethje, and Usman is the Team Fred parlay. That is something, AJ. Top that. I mean, he went full AJ on that parlay.
He did, man. I mean, it's a tough one. Even AJ is like, I don't know, Freddie. I mean, it's the Gaethje one is already
shaky,
not looking that great, And going against Vettori, it's not going to look that great. But anyways, listen, for $20, you've got nothing to lose, man. Drop it. It's a great payout. But there's a couple of guys in the prelims. I'm not going to be putting them on my card, but I'm looking at the Mohamed Mokaev. This guy, man, is one deadly guy. In fact, I'm surprised this guy is on the prelims. In fact, he should have been there before Gunnar. Exciting fighter. He's 9-0. If I had to take something outside of my parlay, that guy would be the lock right there.
He's a minus 900 favorite, so yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He should have been on the main card.
He's not as famous as Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson's main evented fight nights and stuff.
Anyways, yeah, it's not like the best card there, best fight there. But
give me a parlay.
We'll start with obviously, I'm going with Usman. I think Usman is gonna take back what he deserved in the second fight. Fizzy is gonna make Justin Gaethje dizzy, no doubt about it. So I think Freddie is gonna be wrong on that. I mean, anything can happen. I think Gunnar Nelson will be able to submit Brian. I'm not going to take that, so just a straight win for Gunnar. Then I'm going to go with Casey O'Neill. At 25 years old, I think she has enough to be able to handle Jennifer Maia's grappling game. I think she's going to win it and make it a 10-0 for her. And then I'm going with the Italian Dream, man. The Italian Dream's been, fucking it up in Thailand, and he's going to smoke Roman Dolidze on Saturday night. So I'm giving it to Marvin. Super hard, man, to take Marvin out of the game. You can't submit him or it's hard, man. It's gonna be a tough night for Roman. So there you go. That's my pick, dude.
Garbage parlay.
That's it.
Garbage. Terrible.
What?
The payout is small. It's multiple fights. What an awful parlay. Kamaru Usman, Rafael Fiziev, Gunnar Nelson minus 375. Casey O'Neill minus 172, Marvin Vettori minus 275. $20 gets you 112.69.
Nice, it's a nice payout. What are you talking about?
But it's a 5-fight parlay, and the payout was roughly the same as my 3-fight parlay.
I know. I got 2 more on top of it, but at least it's there. It's completely.
You added more fights, but the payout is not really worth it. It's because I picked an underdog with Leon Edwards.
Yeah, and that's where you're gonna lose. So if you want to win, go with Team AJ, Angelo, because Team AJ is winning this weekend, man.
That's what you hope.
Luck of the Irish.
You're not Irish. You're not Irish a bit. You're as Irish as I am, which is 0%.
I went to a very Irish school, dude. So chances are.
What?
I'm gonna win on Saturday, dude.
You're Italian.
Just tell me.
You're not Irish. I am definitely not Irish. I have 0 Irish in me. 0.
You never know, man. You got to do ancestry, DNA there, whatever.
Yeah, my parents have done those things, so whatever they are, I am, dude. And I've seen what they did, and there's no Irish there on either side.
I'm surprised.
There's some Vietnamese.
I mean, your little girl has red hair, dude.
It's a good chunk of Vietnamese. Good chunk.
You would have never guessed. Look at Dave.
Should have seen my grandfather. That guy looked Vietnamese.
He looked the part.
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, I saw him. I was like, whoa, dude. What's going on here?
Are you sure you're my grandfather?
Yeah, what's going on? Are we related? He's like, yeah. I was like, wow. That's something. Good for him.
Especially when he pulled out the Vietnamese weed, man. Then you'd be like, oh, yeah, he's my grandfather.
That never happened.
Ah, there you go.
No. I didn't really know him. All right.
But the mushrooms could have been
something.
He
didn't have those either. God, I wish. He would have been way cooler. Way cooler. God.
That's funny, man.
All right. How many mushrooms are you going to do on Saturday to watch the pay-per-view? You going to eat a bunch of mushrooms, AJ?
Well, if you bring pizza, man, I'll be loading you with mushrooms. What are we doing, man, on Saturday?
Super Mario.
What's the buffet, man?
What?
Listen, so 5 o'clock, Angelo. I don't know if Angelo is going to be out doing his Uber stuff for whoever's listening, man. 5 o'clock we start, and it's going to be an interesting night, man.
Why you say just for Angelo? We hope more people than just Angelo watch.
Well, yeah, for sure. We're going to get tons of viewers. We're going to get over 10,000 viewers easily, man. Guaranteed, because it's in England. Every time we have a watch along in the UK, man, our numbers are through the roof.
You're jinxing us.
It's great because
we've got big time.
No, not at all, man. People want to see some fun shit. You don't want to listen to some of the commentators out there, man. They're so boring, man. We make it fun. We make it interesting, man. Listen, you could go there or you could come with us. Who's going to talk about, like, Sopranos? Who's going to be talking about, like, Freddy's, like, implants and all that kind of stuff? Who, man?
What? All right.
Just
a shout out to Angelo dropping a super chat. He says, Happy St. Patty's Day to all. So Angelo is in the spirit.
Yeah!
AJ is in the spirit. I'm clearly not, but what are you going to do?
Well, that's Dave, man. I was play the part.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not my
and
thing.
On Saturday, I'm going to be doing it too, man. It's all about St. Patrick's Day on Saturday.
I like Halloween. I'm a Halloween guy. I'm not a St. Patrick's guy. I like candy, you know? I don't like beer. Give me some candy. I'm a Halloween guy. I'm just a big kid, you know? I don't like these
adults. I can bring you candy if you want.
St. Patrick's Day is not for kids, you know?
Well, sure it is, man. Have you gone to a parade lately?
Yeah, have you? Have you seen the people there? Good God. I wouldn't take children there. I haven't ever been to a St. Patrick's Day parade, but I would assume that everybody is sloppily drunk. I've seen people on St. Patrick's Day, and it's just like,
Dave. Hey, did you show the Instagram picture?
Angelo asked me I don't like Guinness. No, I really don't like Guinness at all.
Hey, listen, man. This is a Guinness hat, Angelo. Look, Angelo.
Disgusting.
Look.
Ugh.
The people from Guinness like me so much, they gave me a hat. So this is a Guinness hat.
Do you like it?
Straight from Ireland.
Do you like the taste
Guinness,
of it?
Man. Yeah. Come on, man.
Yuck.
It's good for you. Very healthy. I mean, I'm not telling you to drink, like, a keg full, like, in one night, but, I'm just saying, there's some people that live to 100, and you know what their secret was? Having a Guinness every day.
No, I don't like beer at all.
Saying,
I don't ever drink beer or alcohol of any kind. Not that I'm against it or I, have an alcohol problem that I was a drunk at one time and I can't drink. It's not the case. I just don't like it. I'm not into it. It doesn't taste good to me. It doesn't feel good to me. I don't like it. Oh, there's my dad chiming in. He says Guinness is the best. Well, good for him. You can have a Guinness. Enjoy yourself.
See your dad, man. There you go.
I'm gonna have a Coca-Cola. All right. I'll have root beer. All right. I don't need no. I don't know. I don't like it. It's a thing that a lot of people like. Everybody, a lot of people like beer. It's a very popular drink. I don't like it. If it's offered to me, I will say no. I don't like it at all. I never.
Hey, Johnny, man. Johnny doesn't drink either.
No, John doesn't drink at all.
He doesn't even drink soft drinks. I mean, Johnny is like straight like a H2O.
No, not really. Him, it's more for health. For me, it's not a health thing or anything. It's just like, I don't like it. It's not for me.
Listen, I won't refuse a Guinness. I'll tell you that much, man. So if you want to bring some Guinness on Saturday, it'll be nice. But
I'll refuse
Freddie,
everything.
man.
I'll refuse
Freddie likes
everything.
his proper 12.
You can roll a joint for me, and I'll refuse it. I won't even want that. I don't want that. I don't want people, if you give me a piece of weed, I might take it. But I don't want you rolling the joint for me. I'll do it myself. People don't do it correctly for me, I don't want anything. I refuse a lot of things.
You're tough, man. You're a tough date. Mind you, a cheap date, actually. It's not a bad idea.
I don't want to go on a date. Leave me alone. I don't want to leave my house. I don't want anybody bothering me. I don't go out. I'm not trying to go outside.
You know what? Dave is like, he's a very well-known guy.
I'm
he's
a recluse.
Celebrity in some sense. But he doesn't like to be out in the public, which is funny. So if you ever go out with Dave, which I do go out with Dave, you know me, I'm out in the crowd. I'm like, this is Ringside Report. And Dave is like, where's Dave, man? He's hiding again. Get him out.
I got a baseball cap and a hoodie on. I'm like hiding away from AJ. Like, don't look at me. Come on, leave me alone.
Listen, man, you put me and PR Mark together, man, it gets crazy. And Dave shies away. But everybody knows Dave, man. Everywhere you go, it's like, are you Dave Simon? It's like, yeah, there's Dave Simon. The guy that's hiding in the corner, that's Dave. Go ask for an autograph. Which actually, Dave, people came out and asked Dave for an autograph. Like quite a few times, in fact.
I was like, that many. It's happened a couple times.
Forget me, man. I'll give you an autograph.
Yeah, nobody cares about you for some reason.
I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Rob Schneider.
Yeah. People are like, hey, Dave. And I'm like, yeah, it's me, Dave. How you doing? And they're like, we get a picture. I'm like, yeah, sure. There's AJ. And they're like, nah,
Yeah,
we're good.
Man, I was going to smash that guy. But
that was
okay.
great. That was the best. That did happen once. That was really funny.
Yeah, it did, actually.
Did not give a shit about you.
Who is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
And then even asked me to take the picture. I was going to smash the camera, man. But anyways, all to say, Dave's the head honcho, man. Ringside Report.
And I'm here, and I'll be here
the
in this studio, in the
Number
safety
one,
of this
Joe
studio
Rogan.
all weekend. I'll be back tomorrow night with Johnny talking wrestling.
Nice.
And I'll be back with AJ here Saturday afternoon watching the UFC pay-per-view. So there's that.
And that's it, man. Let's call it a wrap. I got to go watch a kid now.
All right. Angelo said something. There's a streamer that I watch who doesn't like being in public either. It's not that I have like a phobia or anything. It's just that, you know.
Yeah, he does have a phobia.
No, I don't have a phobia. I'm not like scared of being in public. I go out to places sometimes. There's just very few places that draw me to go, you know? Like
strip joints.
No. There's got to be a reason for me to leave my house. And it's got to be a damn good reason because, you know, half the shit that people are like, come to this. And I'm like, that sounds like I won't enjoy it. And I don't want to.
Guns N' Roses, man. You diss the Guns N' Roses.
I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. Also, Angelo, why are you watching other streamers? I mean, uncool, Angelo. Only watch me. Come on, man. What are you doing? Don't watch other guys.
Number 2. Angelo, number 2. Number 1 is Joe Rogan. Remember that.
Joe Rogan.
He's the best, man. I love Joe.
He's really not the best. You don't even watch his shows.
I listen to all his shows, man.
No, you don't.
I'm on Spotify.
You're a liar.
I listen to Rogan. I swear to God.
You don't listen to all the Joe Rogan shows. His last show with
Russell, I just listened. His last show, I'm listening to all of them, man.
You don't listen to all the Joe Rogan shows. I know you don't.
Pretty much all of them.
I know you don't.
Dave. I'm telling you, I'm listening to them all. Listen, go on Spotify. Did you enjoy
the episode with CoffeeZilla?
CoffeeZilla.
Yeah, you didn't hear it because you don't listen to all his episodes. That was one I actually listened to because it was interesting. But I didn't watch the Russell Brand one because that's
Russell Brand, awesome, man. I love Russell Brand. But I'm going to tell you something. You get on Spotify.
Putting those two together is just, wow. The thought process.
Wow, it was amazing.
Unbelievable.
It was amazing. It was awesome.
Yeah, real thought leaders there. Real big thinkers.
Yeah, they are. It was pretty interesting.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, Russell Brand, very good. Joe Rogan, number 1. Let's be honest, Dave. And then download Ringside Report, man. Spotify. We're on Rumble now. We're on we're on like so many podcasts.
How many people get fucking suckered into that bullshit? Joe Rogan and Russell Brand. Those are your thought leaders? That's who you fucking look to make sense of the world and politics and your worldview? Those two fucking guys? Okay. Good luck to you. It's ridiculous.
Number 1.
It's ridiculous, AJ. Come on, man.
Number 2, Ringside.
Where are the fucking adults
in the room? Dude.
Whatever happened? Whatever happened to fucking credibility and legitimacy and truth and facts and fucking common sense? It's fucked, man. The fucking world is fucked. I'm telling you. People like Russell Brand and Joe Rogan are fucking leading young men in their fucking minds, or old men in AJ's case. We're fucked. Russell Brand. Fucking
I loved him in acting, man. Great actor. Sure. So much fun.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock with Johnny to talk about pro wrestling. Stuff will happen on SmackDown. AEW is coming to Canada. They're going everywhere. They're going to fucking... What? First of all, they're doing a pay-per-view in Toronto. They're doing the New Japan AEW pay-per-view in Toronto, which sucks because it should be here, so fuck that. And then they're doing... I mean, I guess it could be in Toronto. It makes sense, but come on, man, Tony Khan. And then they're going to fucking Hamilton for TV, Edmonton, Saskatoon, Regina, and Calgary. They're not coming to Montreal.
What?
big summer tour for AEW. They're not coming to Montreal. So hear me talk shit about Tony Khan tomorrow night on Wrestling Uncensored, among other things that I will do tomorrow night. Fucking ridiculous, man. How have they still not come to Montreal? Like, what are they waiting for? All right. We'll talk about it tomorrow night on Wrestling Uncensored here on the Ringside Report Network. We'll see you again Saturday afternoon for the UFC 286 watch along.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.